So hi, I'm Patty Calkins, Global Vice President of Environmental Sustainability, Health and Safety for Xerox Corporation.
And I'm Jim Howe. I'm the Director of the Nature Conservancy here in Central and Western New York in Rochester, Xerox's home base.
We started our partnership initially in 2007, and we went forward with the intention of focusing on 4 geographies, which included Indonesia, Brazil, the Canadian boreal forest, as well as the United States, to try and strengthen and build these sustainable forestry practices, really sort of progress the state of sustainable forestry practices in the industry. And what we recognized is right away that some of the, and again, this was through our dialogue together, recognize that some of the challenges, and you can dive into this a little bit more, for foresters is that they didn't have the tools or the information that they needed to make good sustainable forestry practice choices. And that the certification frameworks were perhaps not quite as robust in some areas of identifying sensitive areas that needed to be protected. So perhaps you can describe some of the challenges of foresters that this partnership helped address.
The first thing we've found, the Nature Conservancy has found, is when you're working with a private landowner, whether it's a corporation or a family, they really want to know more about their land. They want to know, what are the places that are critically important? Where should I be more sensitive? Where do I need to really protect my land to be successful? And I think the Conservancy's science-based approach can help with that. The other thing we find is that we can also provide consistency in the marketplace. If you're a private landowner or a corporation or a family, if you can get a premium for your product by certifying that the work that you're doing, the forest management that you're doing is sustainable, that's something that we think the market should pay for, whether it's maybe a higher demand for your product or just a price premium. So one of the things that I think has made our work successful on the certification end is that we can tell a forest landowner or a company that by certifying that your product is managed sustainably, produced sustainably, the marketplace is going to reward you for that.
Mm-hmm. So this has been an extremely valuable partnership for Xerox, and I trust that it has been for
Likewise.
the Nature Conservancy also. And we've been in this partnership now for 3 years, which was the course of our first partnership. And I'm really happy to announce that we are extending our partnership for another 4 years, and we're contributing another $1 million to the Nature Conservancy to continue to focus on the efforts that we have invested in over the past 3 years, and to add into that a couple of other areas that we would like to drive forward. One is to link the whole aspect of forest carbon to certification practices. Yes, this next course is going to be looking at how do we measure the forest contribution to climate change, and how do we then incorporate that into certifications practices that bring that dimension into forest conservation practices.
How can we make those? How can we measure carbon consistently across the globe and make sure that we're capturing it right? You think about forests grow at different rates. They grow at very slowly in Arctic environments. They grow very fast in the tropics. We need standards as part of forest certification that tell us how much carbon is being captured, so that landowners and businesses can make sure that they're compensated for those carbon capture and sequestration.
Mm-hmm. The other dimension that we're adding to this next iteration of our partnership is to focus in on how can we enable the supply of certified fibers to increase, recognizing that one of the challenges in some areas, and particularly in the United States, is that a lot of the forests are not owned by the large forest companies and paper companies anymore. They're owned by non-governmental, non-industry, or what do you call them?
NPIF, NIPF, non-industrial private forests. Yes.
And the challenges to trying to get certification at a very small piece of property is difficult. So we're working together to try and find innovative ways to enable certification, I guess, of larger portions that may be owned by several different entities.
We consistently look for projects that, if we can get off the ground successfully, they can take off on their own. And I think the Xerox partnership is a great example of how we're trying to find solutions collaboratively with the private sector.
In a world where there's increasing demand on our natural resources and a recognition that, particularly in the parts of the world where people don't live at the same standard of living that we enjoy in the developed world, that improving their standard of living comes with it increased consumption of our natural resources, that these sorts of partnerships like Xerox and the Nature Conservancy, where we can really help drive real progress and certification of products such as this, will ensure that those who are purchasing these certified paper products, that they have been sourced in a way that has considered preserving our natural resources for generations to come.